Hey everyone, it's exciting. It's game week, so it's an exciting time. We're looking forward to getting on the road and opening our 2021 season down at Troy and starting the next chapter of our journey with our new team.
All right, David, you want to start us off?
Jamie, having been up in Minnesota, it's probably no big deal to you, but the weather this weekend down south, temperatures are going to barely climb out of the 20s. Does that add an extra element as far as approaching the season opener for you? Is that, you're probably going to be dealing with frigid temperatures the entire tournament?
Yeah, we've been keeping an eye on the weather, the last probably 10 days or so, and it is fluctuating. It seemed to have maybe climbed a little bit, but I think more, something we're maybe a little bit more aware of is just the wet, the rain and what's coming in. So I think the temperature should hold. And, we've been outside practicing for a long time. We went and brought our players back in early January. So we're kind of battle tested when it comes to that. And some of that's just the mentality and doing what we can to stay warm. But it's going to be the weather and the rain. That'll be something that we're just going to continue to keep an eye on, and we'll manage that as best we can too.
Any chance you're going to tell us who you're going to put in the circle first on Friday?
No.
Any idea going into this tournament how many pitchers you plan to use this weekend?
Whatever it takes. We've been doing a lot of inter squatting really the last month, and we've been having some great competition and some players who really stepped up to the call. So we feel comfortable whoever we need to put out there, and some of it will be matchup based and kind of planning not just that game but the day and managing the whole weekend. So all our pitchers will be ready, they'll be on call, and we have a lot of confidence whoever we put on the mound.
Eric?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Coach, just talk about what's it been like working with, obviously you've worked with Katie before you brought her over from Minnesota, but Riker as well, adding him to the staff. How have you all blended in as a staff here from the fall to now?
Yeah, and it definitely helps having Katie spend a couple years together and even her familiarity with Ole Miss and how things are done here. So we're surrounded by great people, and I think I'll always be able to say that about the programs that I'm in. For us, it starts with people and having the right people in the right place. And so us being able to have that respect and the camaraderie off the field, translating onto the field and spending the time to get to know each other. And I'm a head coach that gives a lot of freedom, to be honest. So I let people kind of be in their lane and figure out who they are and stay in that lane. And I'm not necessarily a micromanager. That's not who I hired. It's not who I am. And so there's a lot of confidence in Riker. He's a dynamic personality. So is Katie. Obviously they're both young, they're energetic, they're passionate, they're great at what they do, and they have a high level IQ and database. And so we continue to grow our relationship on and off the field and continue to lead this program. And I'm really proud of the work that both those two have done so far this year with the pitchers and certainly the hitters and the offense.
How valuable was Katie as far as transitioning and getting to know the personnel, having been here before, probably knowing some of the personnel and obviously knowing the school? How has that made your transition maybe a little easier than it might have been otherwise?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just kind of how each institution operates, who to call, especially in COVID, because we haven't had one in-person meeting, on campus. We've done some Zooms. And so kind of always knowing who to call and who to touch base with and how to get things done. That's been probably the most helpful. I've made a couple transitions the last handful of years, so I'm a little more comfortable with myself. Sometimes getting comfortable being uncomfortable and just knowing it's just part of the process. And but it definitely helps. I think as much as having someone who knows who you are and how you want things done, being able to convey that message, reiterate it, help set things up and kind of be someone that can get the job done, even when we aren't together the way that we want to get it done and the way I like it. So, so I think that's probably been the most beneficial.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about your roster as you get set to start the season, from getting to know them when you got there to now? What's one of the couple things you've learned about your team?
We have good depth and we have a lot of different pieces. I mean, it's the biggest roster I've ever been around. So even, to be honest, even trying to figure out how to manage practices, starting off with 29 players, which is almost 2 teams. And so, I think just figuring out how to train these guys and how to implement, what we need in our language and how we run things. And But we have a lot of great pieces, and we have a lot of great players, and we've had players who've been a part of a lot of success here at Ole Miss. And so we're going to use the experience that we have and the players that have been in those moments and been part of the success to continue to grow the players that are coming in behind them too. And, we're a work in progress, and that's the compliment. And we always will be, committed to the process. And it's just one stage of our journey, but there's a lot of players that can do a lot of great things, and it'll be our job as coaches to manage them and put them in a situation to be successful.
Back to David.
Jamie, what have you seen from your pitchers over the last 3 weeks or so? And where's your comfort level with this staff heading into this season?
Well, as a new coaching staff, it's a little bit of a blank slate for everybody, and we do our research, we watch games, we watch video, but, for me coming into the year, it was pretty much a blank slate for all of them, and getting to know who they are and rebuilding them back up and train them the way we want to train them. And they continue to get better, and that's all we're asking of our players, is to buy in, to be all in, and to continue to trust the process and just trust us and continue to put one foot in front of the other and give us your very best every day. And our players continue to get better, including our pitchers, and that's all we can ask them. And we feel 100% confident that whoever we put on the mound can get the job done. And we're not going to win with just one pitcher. It's not going to be just our pitching staff that wins us the game. We need to play well in 2 out of the 3 areas, and we feel comfortable and confident that we're going to do that and be able to challenge each game that we step on the field. We're just going to keep it simple. It's just a game of execution. So, and it's just next man up. So whoever's not getting the job done, whoever's getting the job done, whoever's asked, and we feel comfortable that they're trained and prepared to go out there and do their job and do it right and do it well.
You've got one of the best backstops in the country in Autumn Gillespie. And she started hitting for power last year. And of course, we all know what she can do behind the plate. Can I get you to talk just a little bit about Autumn and what she brings to the team, not only at the plate, but while you guys are in the field and managing that staff?
I think that's the biggest thing. She's an elite catcher, there's no doubt, and she's got an elite skill set. So a ton of experience, and part of the reason this program's been successful, and we're going to ask her to be a lockdown catcher, and that's who she is and who she's been. And everything we get to gain offensively is honestly going to be a bonus. And she gives us a player who can hit for average and hit for power. She has great speed especially for as big as she is and her size. And so she's a kid that can get on base, that can steal bases. She understands the game. She's got a great database, and she can do a lot of things for us behind the plate, controlling our pitchers and defending the running game. So we look for her to be a player that's real consistent for us, and really a position, especially with a more inexperienced pitching staff in terms of innings, to really, do her job and make them feel comfortable and confident on the mound. And she can do that.
Can you talk a little bit about the field you're going to be facing this weekend with UAB and Troy and Chattanooga, and maybe leaving somebody out, Belmont?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some good programs. I think it's opening weekend. It's been a year of COVID. It's an unconventional year. It's been a long time since we've seen somebody else. I think that's the number one thing, is going out and seeing someone else. And we know we have tough opponents, but our whole focus will be taking the information we have, making sure we have a great game plan, which we've already started this week, and go out there and take care of our own things that we can control. So we know we'll face good pitching, we'll know we'll face good defense, and there are teams that you need to go out and play well in order to beat. They're not just going to be games that you just show up and win, and that's not who we're going to be. But we'll have to go out there and execute at a high level and consistently throughout the tournament to go and get some W's.
As I've talked to your players throughout the offseason, almost to a person, they bring up Riker Chase on and how big of an addition he has been for them. Can you talk a little bit about what Riker has brought to your staff?
Yeah, he has a dynamic personality. He's full of passion. He's a hype man. I think he's even said that he's a hype man. He makes you feel good when you're around him. He's done a great job in our bullpen with those pitchers. They believe in him. They believe in what he's teaching, and they continue to get better. I think they found a lot of confidence in their own growth through the work that they've put in. And he's a person you want to be around. When he walks into a room, he's going to kind of light it up, and that's just his personality. He's got and so he's he's easy to be around. He knows the game. He's, been with on the national team, with the women's national team, obviously at LSU for 4 years and working with one of the best travel ball coaches and organizations in the country. And so, he's got a great background with a dynamic personality. He knows the game and he knows how to teach it.
Thanks, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions for Coach Trachsel?
Eric?
Eric, I don't know if you're muted or not.
Oh, sorry about that. What's one of the things you're looking forward to finding out about your team once you step on the field playing against somebody else that you can't find out at practice or in gatherings? What's one of the things you're looking forward to finding out?
Just how we compete together. And I think that's what I touched on that a little bit earlier, is just seeing, how we go into battle with everybody instead of kind of against each other. And, these kids, they got some snarl and some killer instinct in them. They compete. They kind of show up. So looking to see who can step out there and handle the moment. Obviously it's been about a year since we've been on the field, but who can show up and keep the game as simple as it is, with great composure, and go out there and execute. But and we want to see our kids compete, handle what's thrown at them, be resilient and respond to the situations that we're in throughout the entire weekend, and not just on Friday, not just on Saturday, but the whole weekend. Is can we sustain who we are and how well we need to play throughout the whole weekend, and who's able to do that.
What players have stood out as the leaders on the team here that have developed, either being a vocal leader or just leading by example?
Oh, we have a handful of them, no doubt. We actually had kind of a leadership council that was voted on by all, a handful of us, and including the players. And so, we're big on developing that. We have different players that are responsible for different areas of our team, and certainly the on-field leaders. I think it's hard to overmiss a 6'1" catcher that's behind the plate that has an elite skill set. Is going to be on the mound, but we have a lot of different players that bring different things, and we'll look to all of them to continue to move this program in the right direction and be successful this year.